All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It is officially afternoon by 5 minutes. All right. So we are going to go ahead and get started. I will be your MC again today. Jeremy is at the ASUN Basketball Media Day, so there should be some social media stuff out there about our basketball teams if you want to check in on that. Where are they at? They're in Jacksonville for that, so the ASUN headquarters. Okay, so we had quite a few go on this last weekend. We had quite a few sports going, except for football. But we have some coaches to talk to you guys, but I'm going to go through the ones where the coaches are not here quite yet. So first off, we've got women's golf. So women's golf was off from competition last week, but they are currently playing right now in Hot Springs at the Diamante Intercollegiate in round 2. After the first round, the Bears were in third place, just 4 strokes behind the leader, Memphis. And they will complete this tournament today or tomorrow? Tomorrow, once they have completed their third and final round. Next week, the Bears will wrap up their fall season by playing at the Judson in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. So we will hear from Summer after that, most likely. We also had women's soccer. We had 2 home games, so had 2 matches this weekend, and the first one was against the Bellarmine Knights, and they played more than 80 minutes of scoreless soccer, although both teams had good looks to take the lead. But in the 83rd minute, Trace Pavat found her way in behind the Knights' defense and found Sakiko Manabe in the box where she put the chance away, giving the Bears the 1-0 lead. A.K. Harrell made 4 saves in goal, and the Bears got the 1-0 shutout win. Then on Sunday, the Bears played EKU. Saw a few of you there yesterday. Bears scored 2 goals in the first half on a PK from Megan Mowdy and 1 from Trace Pavat, assisted by Caroline Billings. Then in the second half, Trace had an assist on Sophia Backstrom's goal, which turned out to be the difference maker in the 3-2 win for the Bears. Next week, the Bears will play UNA on Saturday, October 25th, for their final regular season match of the season, and it will be Senior Day. So that's at 1 p.m. If you want to come out, it'll be their Senior Day. Following that, we'll also have our men's soccer game, but I'll get to them a little later. Volleyball. So volleyball had a long road trip out to Charlotte for their matchup against Queens on Friday. Sugar Bears got the 3-0 sweep while hitting 306 for the match. Sugar Bears were led by Lacey Bohannon with 11 kills, Kaylin Coons with 33 assists, and Alexis McDaniel with 13 digs. Bohannon has now reached the 900 kills club in her career, so that's awesome. Yeah. And really, she was injured one year, so this is really, she's a senior, but it's only her 3rd season, so that's really awesome. On Sunday, the Sugar Bears played at West Georgia and got the 3-1 win. So Bohannon led the Bears again in kills with 18. Coons had an incredible 46 assists, and McDaniel had another 16 digs. And this week, the Sugar Bears will be back at the Print Center on Friday versus Bellarmine for a 6 p.m. start, and then Sunday versus EKU for a 1 p.m. start. I think Bellarmine on Friday is going to be our Nightmare on Bruce Street, so it should be a fun one. And then Sunday is going to be a pink out. Cross country. All right, finally, our first coach. You guys don't have to listen to me talk for much longer. Thanks so much, Erod. Cross country. So they ran in the Crimson Classic in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The men's finished 12th place. Jack Demon ran our fastest time at 25:03. And what's the distance on that? 5 miles. Wow. Okay. I don't want to know how far I'd get in 25 minutes. But he finished 43rd overall. The women placed 13th. Madeline Hill ran our fastest time at 20:35, narrowly missing setting a new school record, and finished 22nd overall. The next race will be the ASUN Championships in Jacksonville, Florida on November 1st. Now let's hear from head coach Josey Weaver. Yay.
Thanks, JT. Yeah, it was a good step in the right direction. Sport of cross country, just so different than others. Regular season really doesn't mean a whole lot. You could get beat finish dead last every single meet. In 2 weeks, if you win that one, you're the conference champ. So we've always geared up for that in terms of with our men and women. Some things I can add to that from this past week at Alabama. On our women's side, we raced 8 young women. Of the 8, 6 of them ran lifetime best. We always joke and kind of say our season starts in October, it ends in November. If we're looking that good right now, it sets up to be a really good day 2 weeks from now. So a lot of confidence built there. I left one of our really good ladies at home. She's healthy. Her name's Sequoia Prentice. She'll be with us in 2 weeks, so we'll have our full squad except for KJ. KJ's still battling an ankle injury that she had last May. She tore just about every tendon in her ankle. We'll have her for indoor, so that's the good news, but we're probably not going to have her for outdoor or for cross country. Madeline did run well. She's ran well all year. I expect that to continue. I've watched her grow up. She obviously transferred here with me when I came from East Carolina. She's solid. You can always count for her to give her very best on that day. As she goes, we go, so we're in a good place 2 weeks down the road for that. On the men's side, Jack Dingman, Trey Baker, Kai Bickford, there's no new names. They've just gotten a year older, a year faster. We're healthy on the men's side. We're showing up with every single one of our guys. That's a big battle in cross country. It's how close can you train, get to the red line without crossing over it and getting people hurt and injured, and you don't have them throughout the season. So we've done a good job with that, and I'll be excited for that. Conference, what I can tell you about 2 weeks from now. The course, we know it. It's the exact same cross-country championship course we had last year. So we're really familiar with that. So is everybody else. It's going to be in Jacksonville. One of the athletes, we got back on the bus, and it's funny how, they think they can talk and you can't hear them when you're in the front, but you hear every word. And once the conversations switched from playing Among Us and all types of other things that our group does, I heard one of them talk about, man, I'm so thrilled to be going back to Jacksonville. And I just started paying attention. I'm thinking, Jacksonville's hot. Cross-country distance runners, we normally don't like that. But the next words out of their mouth was, yeah, last time we were in Jacksonville, we won a championship. So I'm like, that is true. And there's a lot of good, positive momentum. We're staying really close to the same hotel on purpose so we can do some things, the exact same thing that we did in May. So hopefully we get a little bit of deja vu there. The last thing that I'll say is when I look at this course and from a year ago, now that I've got to see it, we could have stopped the race at 2.5 kilometers, which for the women is the halfway point, and for the men it's actually a little bit earlier than the halfway point. And you could have said right then, score the meet, that's who wins, and that's how it was. Nothing changed. So we know that the first 2.5 kilometers are going to be very important in establishing a position and also not going too soon and redlining and being in trouble. So lots of good information. If I know that, not everyone, I'm not going to give all the coaches credit in this conference, but there's some other ones that know that too. So we expect it to be a dogfight, and we're going to go down there to compete, represent UCA, and then roll to regionals after that. So we're in a good spot, though. Any questions? All right, go Bears.
Okay, next we have men's golf. So men's golf competed at the Everett Buick GMC Classic at the Chenal Country Club on October 13th and 14th. The Bears shot -1 for the event, finishing in 10th place. They made 156 pars, 42 birdies, and one eagle. Vukasin Saturovic led the Bears for the tournament, shooting -6, an impressive -7 in round one. This wraps up the fall season for the Bears. They will play 6 tournaments in the spring, starting on February 9th and 10th at the Bentwater Intercollegiate in Texas, and concluding with the Bears defend their title at the ASUN Championships in Valdosta, Georgia. So let's hear from head coach Josh Turnock.
Thanks, JT. So this is actually my first time here, so for those who don't know me, just want to quickly introduce myself. I'm Josh Turnock, and this is kind of my first full year leading the men's golf program. I took over as interim in the spring, and then before that, a couple of years as graduate assistant, so just really excited to be leading the team and, hopefully lead the team to more success that we've had in the past couple of years. So, as JT said, we just got done wrapping up our fall season last week at Eulah's event down at Chenal Country Club. not quite the way we wanted to finish the fall season. The way we started off, we had a strong start to the season. We started off pretty strong in round 1, came out shooting 9 under as a team, put us in 4th place, and then early in round 2, we kind of made a couple birdies, moved up a couple spots. We were sat in 2nd place for a few holes, and then we kind of got tired towards the end. It's been a busy past 6 weeks. We've played 5 tournaments in a 6-week span. So, busy on the road, a lot of traveling. So I think that kind of caught up to the players. So, maybe next year, the fall season, we may try to spread the tournaments out a little bit more. But, as I said, we started the season off pretty strong. Went to South Carolina, played in Golf Week Invitational, came 6th there. Steady improvement. Round 1, we came out shooting even par as a team. Round 2, we shot 4 under. Round 3, 8 under as a team. So, that was great to see the kind of gradual improvement. We do have a young roster still. So we have 3 seniors, kind of 6 sophomores, and 1 freshman. So, a young squad, which is, it's good to see that, they can come out in the first week and play well. So we did lose a couple of our players last year who were a key part of our success of winning the ASUN title. So I didn't really know fully what to expect of the guys coming out this year. I knew it would be a slightly different lineup. But as I said, we had 4 sophomores and 1 senior playing the following week at UT Martin's event hosted in Memphis. And I think Jeremy had, given a few updates on that a few weeks ago. But it was a great week for us. We set the 18-hole, 36-hole, and 54-hole record for UCA Golf. Came out shooting 20 under in the first round with Vukasin, who's a sophomore. He shot the program record, 63 in the opening round, which was fantastic to watch. And then we shot 6 under in round 2 to kind of extend the lead. But in round 3, kind of in the morning, I told the guys, we have an 8-shot lead. Around that golf course, that's not much. It's a pretty wide open golf course. We knew going into the week that there was going to be a lot of birdies out there. So there was quite a few teams, not too far behind us. We knew they were going to come out and, try and catch us. So 8 shots out there wasn't that big of a lead. And so, beyond the kind of the records that we set that week, the most impressive thing for me was the fact we were able to shoot the low round for round 3. We shot 12 under as a team. The next best, I think, was 6 or 7 under from another team in round 3. So for me, that was the most impressive thing about the team, was being able to shoot the low round in the final round to extend our lead and win by 14 shots in the end. We had 3 weeks on the road. The following week, we went down and played in UAB's event. That was a very tight leaderboard. We ended up coming 4th in that event, just 4 shots behind the lead. So, that's another thing that I've been trying to reiterate to the players is you get done at the end of the week and you look back at the leaderboard and it's all tight margins. And so just trying to be out on the course, making, smart decisions. When I came over, started last spring as interim, all the players on the team have the physical attributes to go out there and win tournaments, but I think the thing we were lacking was mental strength. And so, that's something that we've worked on this past couple of semesters, is being able to finish the tournament strong, and, having that mental strength to get over the finish line. And that's something that at the ASUN Championship last year that we were able to do, kind of similar to this UT Martin event this year. We came out with a big lead. That lead kind of got cut into round by round, but we were able to finish strong those last 9 holes, and I think that gave the guys confidence at the UT Martin event. Where they had the confidence, they know they've done it before, and so they were able to replicate that and do it again. So we then had a week off after UAB's event, and then we went up to Jonesboro to play in Arkansas State's event. The weather was terrible for that. It rained for about 5 or 6 hours straight, so everyone was soaking wet. But it was the same for everyone. But it wasn't our best week again. That may be down to just a busy schedule. But, that's something that we can improve upon is just handling tough conditions a little bit better. And then, as I said, Little Rock event last week, we started off strong, but, weren't able to kind of replicate that in round 2 and round 3. So, this off season, we're going to be doing a little bit more conditioning with the team to help improve, endurance on those 36 hole days. We're out there for 10, 11, 12 hours at a time on those Mondays. So they're long days, and it's tough to keep the mental strength up. So that's something that we're going to be working on in the off season. And then looking forward to the spring, we got the exact same spring schedule as last year. So it's something that, I purposely planned that because we had good success last spring. We played well in pretty much all the tournaments. And then we have a week or 2 off to give us a chance to get prepared for the ASUN, which is hosted at the same golf course as last year, which I like because, we played there well last year. So hopefully we can have the same success this year. But yeah, that's all I got for now. Is there any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Josh, and welcome. Didn't realize it was your first time. Not too scary, right? No. Okay, next up, we've got men's soccer. So, men's soccer stepped away from ASUN competition to play SMU in Dallas on Tuesday. The Bears competed well in the match, keeping the Mustangs from very many quality looks at goal, but ultimately fell 2-0. The Bears then returned to ASUN play at Bellarmine on Saturday. The Knights came out hot, scoring 3 goals in the first half. The Bears tried to battle their way back into it, but couldn't overcome the deficit. Elijah Bishop and Michael Oliveri both scored for the Bears, with Lucas Shearer serving up both assists. The Bears will be back in action on Saturday at home. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. This match, just like the women, it'll also be their final regular season home match of the season, and it will also be their senior day. So come out and support them on Saturday. Let's hear from head coach Kyle Segebart.
Tough week, obviously, with the results and everything that go on. To add a little bit further context, I think we spent 27 hours in a bus this week. So that's 2 8-hour trips back and forth to Louisville, plus 5.5 back and forth to SMU and Dallas. So there's no way around that. There's going to be wear and tear that goes along with that. I know as a staff, we definitely needed at least the morning or the afternoon just to be away from everyone. It just doesn't matter how patient of a person you are. You spend that amount of time with guys of our age, it can be difficult. But at the same time, the SMU game, honestly, thought it was probably one of the best games that we've played against SMU in the time that I've been here. Close enough game. They had some good chances. They obviously have some very good players, including the one that used to play for us. But ultimately, lose 2-0. We made decisions as a staff that during that game to rest players on purpose so that we were prepared further for the game on Saturday. I think if we had our full group and went at them toe-to-toe, it could have been a much different game. We spoke about it immediately after the game. Things continue to trend the way that they are for us. If we're, conference champions at the end of the day, we're first-round national tournament, very likely we could be going there, right? Last time that we did that was the last time we won the conference tournament, and our first-round championship game was against Southern Methodist. So, don't want to pick, throw something out into the ether that eventually comes true, but it's very possible that, that could happen. So that was the conversation on the way back home from that game. But with a midweek on a Tuesday, it makes it even more difficult to kind of prepare for your conference game of the weekend because you're really looking at travel day, recovery day, another travel day, and then into a game. There's not a lot of time to prep for an opponent. Yes, you've played this opponent once before, but if anyone will tell you, and that includes in-conference, out-of-conference, traveling to Bellarmine is unique. It's a very difficult place to go and get a result. They've had a lot of success there. Obviously, they've gotten now 3 of their 3 home games in the conference. They've gotten all 3 points out of them. So we have traditionally been the best team in order to get a result out of Bellarmine, but finally came and bit us in this one. I think a lot of the conversation leaving the game was obviously we're disappointed with the result. That's not what we were expecting. We played them really, really well at home. I thought we handled them really well in what they bring to the game. But going there, playing at their place in terms of size of the field, the atmosphere, everything that you've got to deal with. We only had, I think, 2 players on the field that night that had actually done that before. So all of that being said, goalkeeper pulls a groin in the first 15 minutes of the game. We get a red card in the 34th minute. That controversial. It's another referee decision that maybe have gone a different way if they had an opportunity to look at it on video review, but we don't require that. So that wasn't a possibility on the night. So we had to deal with it. At halftime, made some adjustments, went really well for us. Got a goal back into it, make it 3-1. And we had a goalkeeper error as well as a defending error on their 4th one, and then it just kind of feels like it's a mountain to get over. Being a man down 4-1 away from home, right, where all that air is kind of sucked out of the room. So I get difficult to get through it, but to get 2 goals off of set pieces, walk away from there with still a chance to win the conference, or at least our side of the conference with 2 games to play. Bellarmine's got to go on the road for both of their remaining conference matches. They are not as good away from home than they are at home. So there's still an opportunity there. The last 2 teams, or the 2 teams that they have to play, have to get something out of those last 2 games, and if they're going to make conference tournament. So there's still a really good chance. We'll be here on Saturday against Queens. Difficult opponent, don't allow a lot of goals. It's been that way for the all season for them. They have a midweek. They go to Duke, and then they come to us on Saturday. So we'll be able to watch them, and we'll have the whole week to prepare and get the team fresh and ready to go for Saturday. So all of those things combined, a lot of things in our favor. But one of the biggest things that we're trying to teach our group right now is, yes, it's a disappointing result. We could get in the locker room, shout at each other, and have a toxic atmosphere going into the week. But what we've done strategically as a staff is we've brought the game back to the players. We've engaged them in the learning process. They're cutting film on the trip on the way back from Bellarmine last night. They're presenting their findings to the group today during our film review, and we'll work through these things that have gone on through the game and learn from it together. There's going to be some accountability. I'm sure it's not going to always be pretty in those conversations, but as team, as well as in families or in businesses, sometimes you need to have those conversations, those tough conversations, in order to move forward. So we're kind of creating that environment today to help us kind of prepare and be ready and be sharper as the week goes along. So that is the notes from me. Any questions about Queens or anything from the weekend? Help you guys.
Who was the goalkeeper that went down?
Merrick pulled a groin. We're hoping to have him back by the end of the week. It's obviously not like the biggest thing in the world, but when it comes to playing Bellarmine at Bellarmine and what our strategy was going into that game, we needed him to be able to kick a ball, and that becomes very difficult with a pulled groin. Any other questions? Cool. All right. Thank you so much.
Moving right along, we've got last sport for today is football. So the Bears enjoyed their bye week this past week, coming off 2 straight wins versus UNA and Utah Tech, moving the Bears to 2-1 in UAC games and into 3rd place in the UAC standings. The Bears' last game versus UNA, Landon Chambers was awarded, he was. I can't believe we didn't mention this last week, UAC Offensive Player of the Week. He ran for 184 yards and 3 touchdowns, not 13. That would be pretty amazing, yeah. This was his 4th straight week rushing for more than 100 yards. Looking ahead, the Bears will run 5 straight weeks to close out the regular season, 3 on the road, 2 at home. Next up is at West Georgia on Saturday. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m. Central. Now let's hear from head coach Nathan Brown.
I think historically, JT, the conference player of the week for football is usually announced right after this. So yeah, that was. I guess when you sit on a game for 2 weeks, it's like, why haven't we talked about that? But yeah, no. Congratulations to Landon. I think he's our 3rd conference player of the week of the season. So happy for him, well deserved. He's having a great season. Hopefully, he's fresh and ready to go for the final stretch. I'll recap. I know we got a chance to hear from Coach Williams and Coach Cree last week a little bit while I was out of pocket. But recapping the North Alabama game 2 weeks ago, obviously a big road win for us. gets us ahead of the game as far as conference play goes. With the bye week now, with the 2 wins against Utah Tech and UNA, basically it puts us in kind of a 3-man race right now with 5 weeks left to go in the season. That doesn't discount the teams that are below us in the conference, but us and Abilene both have 1 loss, and Tarleton is still sitting with no losses. So, who would have thought that 3-4 weeks ago? We were as good as dead, right? That's what most people thought, and now we're sitting here in the home stretch with a lot to play for, and that's consistency for the University of Central Arkansas football program. Is if you get to late October and November, we're usually playing for something, and this team is, and so I'm very encouraged by that. Thought our most complete game to date in Florence 2 weekends ago. Offense, defense, and special teams, all 3 units probably married with each other as well as we have all year. The box score was very lopsided. Not that that's indicative of a win. The box score was also lopsided at Lamar, and we lost the game, in our favor. And so box score could tell lies, but it was encouraging to be able to able to push that game out and win it in the manner that we did. We went out and we scored quick. I thought Coach Williams called a great play on the first play of the game. He brought a corner blitz, Mark Dorsey, from the boundary edge. Basically, was able to put his helmet right in the back of the quarterback, caused a minus, I think, 14-yard fumble. Unfortunately for us, I haven't seen a ball shoot out of a quarterback's hand like that maybe ever. From opposite hash, it went out of bounds to the far side of the field. If that ball just takes obviously an oval football, you never know where it's going to go, but if that ball just takes a little bit of a turn, Jacoby McWhither was right there to scoop and score on the first play. Unfortunately, it was able to skip out of bounds for us, but caused a 3 and out, and we knew going in Friday night we had a couple walkthroughs and meeting times and some different things leading up to the game. And I told our offense, I was like, I'm tired of starting slow. We're going deep to Malachi first play. So we ran a nice little double action move. Did a great job on the protection. Austin threw the ball. I think it went 64 yards in the air. Hit him in stride. Called a touchdown on the field. They reviewed it and called him down on the half-yard line. And we obviously handed it to LC the next play, and he put it in. So start out the game like that, 7-0 was big on the road. And then, look, it's the way football works. It's a game of momentum. They took 14 straight. So now we're down 14-7. I thought our team did a great job relaxing, not getting too uptight in that situation. We went on to score 35 straight points after that. So, again, a lot of great individual efforts. Mentioned Landon Chambers. Thought Austin Myers in his second start of his career. Again, another good night, turnover-free night. Threw 3 touchdowns. Only had to complete 11 balls. A lot of them were explosive plays down the field. We were taking a lot of shots. I think we've got the wide receivers to do that. Those wide receivers are really starting to spread their wings, look the part, kind of what we thought they would be leading into the season. When you've got Tyrell Pollard, Malachi Henry, Ty Durham, Arlie Lee, those guys can go make plays, and they're proving that, especially over the last month. Defensively, I thought we did a great job controlling the run game. Again, a team that hangs their hat on the run. Coach Dearman does a great job with his run concepts and schemes, likes to run the quarterback. We took the quarterback run element out of the game. Coach Williams did a great job schematically with the squeeze-scrape game. Squeeze-scrape. So that means the defensive end squeezing tight when he's unblocked, and the linebacker scraping C-gap. So you take care of B-gap, which is that second gap outside the center, and with that defensive end, and then your linebacker scraping tight to take the C-gap. So a lot of times when quarterbacks get big runs, it's because your scraper's not there. So we did a great job coaching that up, really taking their quarterback run element out of the game, and really made them one-dimensional. And UNA does not like to be in a pass situation, and that's what they were in a lot of the night. And so that was good. Mark Dorsey had a huge night, though. I mentioned his sack. He had another TFL. He had an interception. Thought he had a chance at maybe getting an opportunity, Defensive Player of the Week. He was definitely a nominee for it. I thought he had a great night. Sean Smith had an interception. Marcus Washington had a forced fumble, put his helmet right on the ball. So we were +3 in the turnover margin on the road. That's big. That's usually a recipe for success. So to win a game like that, again, against a team that you might sit there and go, well, UNA's reeling. You know, they haven't won a lot of games. Again, like all of us, they played a tough schedule. They've been in a lot of games. I mentioned 2 weeks ago that that they played 2 games prior to us. They went to double overtime with Illinois State. Illinois State's a top 10 team. So we knew they were going to be talented and tough. So to win in that fashion was a big deal for us. Now you fast forward to this past weekend, and UNA host Eastern Kentucky and beats them 35-14. I mean, and looks like a totally different team. So we beat a quality opponent 2 Saturdays ago, and it was a massive win for our program. The way you handle the bye week is really a dealer's choice. You know, I've changed the way I do bye weeks depending on the year. I don't think there's a magic formula to it. I do think it's a great week for development. So when I talk about development, I talk about your redshirt players, maybe your backups and third-string guys that aren't getting a ton of reps. You spend a lot of time on those guys. You spend some time getting those guys quality competition throughout the week, as well as your frontline guys and starters, but also giving those guys a little bit of a breath, you know, a little bit of a chance to get a break, get off their feet a little bit. You know, don't grind them into the ground. You know, this is a relatively late. The last couple of years, this has been about where our bye week's been, and it's not a bad thing. It gets you kind of on the back half of the season. So you're pretty banged up at this point as far as a football team goes. So it's good to get a little rest and recovery, not only just physically, but for coaches as well up here mentally. I mean, there's a lot of time and effort and energy that goes into each week and game planning, and so to be able to take just a little bit of breath, fresh air, and take a deep breath and look around and just appreciate what the season holds and what your team's done and what you need to get better at. That's big for a program. And so we took full advantage of that, had good quality practices last week, and for us, got an opportunity to give our players off 2 days at the end of the week last week. First time they've probably been off 2 consecutive days since the 4th of July week. So for them guys to get a chance, if they're close or relatively close, I hope some of them got a chance to go home. If they didn't, in Conway, they at least got to get off their feet and relax, not be up here in the office or at the stadium, preparing for a game. So hopefully we took full advantage of that. Got to sit back on Saturday, watch a lot of competition, a lot of games, good weekend to watch football. And then you look at the UAC. The UAC's like I've used this word a few times for myself and for some of our players, but UAC is just psycho. I mean, anybody can beat anybody on any given day, and it is what it is. I mean, like you look at UNA winning the game against Eastern Kentucky. Eastern Kentucky, I think, was favored by a touchdown in that game, and UNA won that game convincingly. Abilene Christian had no losses going into the weekend as far as conference race goes. They go out to a 1-win Southern Utah team, and Southern Utah beat them. So I mean, it's one of those leagues where you have to buckle up. I mean, there's not a bottom tier to this league. There really isn't. I think Tarleton's probably separated themselves just talent-wise a little bit from a lot of us. But again, they're vulnerable too. I mean, this is a tough league. You get them on the right night, and some things bounce your way, and anybody can beat anybody on any given night. But again, we turned the page quickly last night, had a good quality practice yesterday evening. I thought it was one of our probably healthier, quicker paced practices we've had in probably a month or two. And I say that probably because of a little bit of a break. Some of that may be with a little bit of the weather change. It's not 1,000 degrees outside. It feels good, along with having a couple days to kind of be off your feet was big for our guys, especially our guys that have been playing a lot of snaps. So I'm encouraged about where we're at. I think we've got good energy, I think we've got good focus going into the last 5 weeks. And again, it's right where we want. I mean, look, it's in our fingertips. What we want is in our fingertips. We've got to take it one day at a time, though, and that's very coach cliche to say. This coaching world we're in, hey, take it one day at a time, one snap at a time, one play at a time, but you literally have to do that, especially in football. I mean, I just think you can't beat West Georgia on a Monday. You got to win Monday, and so we've got to make sure we do everything we can. I thought our Sunday prep last night was quality. I thought we won the day last night, so we've got to win the day today. Looking forward to West Georgia. Again, it'll be a road trip I don't believe UCA has taken since the Division II days, Gulf South Conference days. So, similar to UNA, there's an old rivalry with those guys somewhat from the Division II Gulf South Conference days. And I know for me personally, I never got the opportunity to go to West Georgia as a player. They came here the one year we played them in 2004. We did not play them in 2005, but in 2004 they came here. But I know UCA's been over there and had some battles with West Georgia over the years. So it'll be a good trip to Carrollton, Georgia. That is on the Eastern time zone. So that's a little bit of a change. There's two teams in at least football playing in the United Athletic Conference that are in that Eastern time zone. That's EKU and West Georgia. And then we actually have two in the Mountain time zone as well in the Utahs. So pretty unique setting to be able to play in three different time zones within one conference. I mean, that's just kind of the world we're in. So this will be a good trip for us. We're going to have to show, I said, after beating Utah Tech, can our team handle just a little bit of success, right? Just a little bit, wasn't a ton. But then we added to that. Now we got a little more success. How are we going to react and respond? And I think our team's in a good spot. I think we're showing some maturity to deal with some adversity that happened throughout the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. And I looked it up, and I'm not saying this just to say this. Right now we're 3-3 against FCS competition, Division I FCS. I don't even count Missouri in that. Because really, when it's all said and done, that game's kind of a wash. If with as far as playoff committee and all that stuff. But we're 3-3 against Division I FCS competition. But counting Missouri in those 4 losses, those teams are combined 24-5. I mean, that's pretty good teams. Sacramento State sitting second in their conference. Lamar is leading the Southern Conference. They're still undefeated in FCS football, and obviously Tarleton's 8-0. I mean, so we've lost to quality opponents. I feel like we're in a better spot right now than we may have been in week 2 or 3 as far as our team goes, the way we've gelled, the way we've grown, just some of the experience we've gained in key spots. But now it's time to see if we can handle just a little bit more success, and can we turn this 2-game winning streak into 3? I know 2 games is a winning streak, but I don't even really consider that a winning streak. You get to 3, now you're talking about a little bit of a winning streak. So great opportunity on Saturday for us to go compete against a quality opponent in West Georgia. Really quickly, a little bit on West Georgia. They started the year out 5-0. Had a great run at the starting of the season. Got all the way up to, I think, 17th or 18th in the country as far as polling goes. They played 5 Division I FCS opponents. They have not played a money game. So that's all Division I FCS wins. Since that 5-0 start, they've hit a little bit of a skid. They've lost 3 straight games, 3 straight conference games. Within those conference games, they've lost to 3 quality opponents. They lost to Tarleton on Saturday pretty handily. They lost to Abilene Christian 2 weeks ago, the week we beat UNA, fairly handily. And then they lost a close game to Austin Peay 3 weeks ago. So you lose to Peay, you lose to Abilene, you lose to Tarleton. I mean, those aren't bad football teams. Those are good football teams. So you're talking about a 5-3 football team. Their head coach, Joel Taylor, is in his second year as the head coach there at West Georgia. Defensive-minded coach. They've got one of the best defenses in the conference. They're leading the conference in rushing defense. They want to stop the run. We want to run the ball. I mean, it's going to be a chess match. It's going to be a battle of who's going to be the more physical football team. And then we've got to be opportunistic and take our shots down the field. They look like a team that recruits Georgia. They look long. They look athletic. They're very fast. They look the part. You can see that that's a pretty hot recruiting bed as far as the relative distance from Atlanta, the relative distance from Birmingham, Alabama. I mean, you're not far from Nashville. I mean, that is a really, really, really good recruiting area to build a program, and Coach Taylor's done a great job of that. Offensively, their starting quarterback missed a couple games, but he seems to be back. He played the whole game against Abilene Christian. He is a transfer from Ole Miss, a very long kid, likes to throw the ball, can be opportunistic in the run game as far as extending plays. But they're an offense that wants to run the football too. I mean, they want to establish the run, play off that with play action, do some things to put you in a bind with your eyes. So we're going to have to be disciplined. I like the way our defense has trended since the second half of the Lamar game. We've really made some huge strides on that side of the ball. And then offensively, we've got to keep taking advantage when we get the ball with short fields, with turnovers. Keep taking advantage when we get the ball in the red zone, which we didn't do as good a job against Utah Tech, which made that game closer than it probably could have been. But I was proud of the way that we handled our game plan, our scheme, and what we were trying to accomplish against UNA. Bye weeks can be a double-edged sword. Hopefully we handled it and are mature about it. It's kind of like going in at halftime. You're up 21 points, right, against North Alabama. And the only thing I'm saying is, hey, don't let this break kill the momentum. And that's what a bye week can do sometimes to you too. When you start winning and you have to take a breath, yeah, that breath is great. That break is great, all that stuff. But man, there's something about routine with football players, probably all sports. When you break up a routine, sometimes if you don't handle it maturely or in the right way, you can look a little sluggish when you come back out. So our goal this week is to bust the rust off. Don't be slugs. Let's get out there and let's get to work. Little side note, I was telling Matt this back there. This will be the only true grass surface we'll play on this year. West Georgia still has a natural grass field. So that's unique. I say that most turfs are built like grass fields anyways, but there is some differences in it. So that's unique. I think the last time we played on grass was Ole Miss in 2022 or whatever year that was. And then prior to that, you would have to go back up maybe to Colorado in 2011. Everybody's got artificial turf these days. So it's not normal, but they got have a beautiful surface. I know that has nothing to do with football, but that's kind of a unique kind of side note that we'll probably prep on Tuesday and Wednesday on our grass field just to kind of prep ourselves for it, which we utilize that throughout the week, most weeks anyways, but for sure this week. With that being said, we're in a good spot. Again, we've got a little bit of the ball rolling downhill. Snowball gets bigger and bigger, right, with momentum. Hopefully that snowball keeps gaining steam. But I like where our guys are at. They're practicing hard. They're playing hard. They're believing. Once again, I said it a second ago, I thought our Sunday practice was as quality as Sunday night practice as we've had in maybe 4 or 5 weeks. So I'm very encouraged about where we're at, excited about the opportunity Saturday against a very talented 5-3 West Georgia team who I don't know if they're in the polls this week or not, but they're right there on the edge if they got bumped out by losing to the number 3 ranked team Tarleton, right? That's not a bad loss for them. So a lot of challenges ahead of us this week, but a good opportunity for the Bears to go beat a quality opponent on the road. With that being said, is there anyone that may have a question? Gene?
This was UCA, your last visit to Brayley Stadium.
Yeah.
Remind me of your history with Brayley Stadium.
So here's what I know about Brayley Stadium. Brayley Stadium, I joked about this maybe to Jeremy after the game. Man, I'll tell you what, you did not come out alive at Brayley Stadium very often back in the early 2000s and 90s. That place was as difficult a place as anywhere in the country to play. And I mean any level. I think at one time, UNA, and don't quote me on this, but I think at one time they were maybe the longest winning streak in Division II history at home there, when that would have been in the late 90s, early 2000s. That's a unique, special place. You think about the history that goes into that place. That place hosted the Division II national championship for years. Think about some of the players that have come through that, not only that program, but playing in the national championship game at a place like that. So to win there, and really in the Division I era, we've been there twice. We're 2-0 over there. So to come out of that place and come out winners is a big deal. I can't tell you. It's funny you say it, Gene, because I bet I had 4 or 5 players that I played with, or maybe right before me here at UCA, that said, "Man, I never felt that there." You know what I mean? Like they would text me that. It's just that place is unique. And so for those of you that don't know, UNA is building an on-campus stadium. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful setup, cool place to play over the coming years. And that is I guess technically a city stadium. I'm not sure how that is. I assume it's a city stadium. I know they probably play some high school games in there, but UNA has always played there. That's where they played their football games. It's a big stadium, kind of the way it's set up is really neat. But I'll tell you this, that's a big win in itself to go to Florence, Alabama, win a football game, and think about the history. And what was cool was they talked to me, their TV crew, their ESPN Plus crew. You do an interview usually as a coach the week of the game, usually with the crew, right? And one of the things I assume if you watched it, they were featuring, some of that UCA. I made my first start as a player against UNA out here in 2005. And beat them in double overtime in the regular season, and then lost to them in the quarterfinals in double overtime out here later that year. But they were talking about some of the players and some of the unique rivalry that was built between UCA and UNA in that time period. You look at A.J. Milwee, he's the quarterback coach at Texas. He was a quarterback when I was playing against him out here in 2005. Chip Long's been the offensive coordinator. He was a tight end for UNA for the Notre Dame. I mean, he's Mike Norvell's offensive coordinator at Memphis. Then you got Mike at Florida State. I mean, it was just, they just started rattling off names, and I'm like, wow. You don't realize that in the moment as a student athlete that, some of the people you're around and some of the competition that you're going against and what they may become 20 years later. It's neat. So. Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, Gene, I mean, that place, UCA's, I don't know that had a ton of success in Braley Stadium before this Division I era. And obviously UNA is doing a good job trying to get their program up, and they're pushing some of the right buttons. I think that's a place that can really thrive, especially when they get a new stadium on campus. That's going to be a big deal for them recruiting-wise. But that's a unique place. And for us to go over there and win a game like that, you win any game in Braley, that's a big deal, but to go win a game like that in that fashion, that's a massive deal. And that does not go unnoticed or I know this, I appreciate it as not only just someone that's been in that rivalry for a long time, but someone that appreciates the history of some of these programs. I mean, you're not going to get a richer history than North Alabama. I mean, that's unique. And then, you go and see what happened this week. EKU went over there and they got beat pretty good, and EKU's a good football program, and so for us to go over there and do that, that's a big deal. Yeah. So Natalie asked about Riley. How are you doing, by the way?
Good.
You look good.
Oh, thank you.
Yep, it's awesome. I like getting positive updates. Riley's doing good. I think she's got an opportunity to get her knee brace off this week, and hopefully the cast off this week, and she'll get on a hinge brace in her arm if all things look clear. So. I told Jessica, I joked with her about this the week of the surgery. I said, I promise you in about 2 weeks we'll be telling her to slow down, and that's what we're doing. She thinks she's independent and can do whatever, and I'm just like, hey, look, just chill out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. I mean, so she's typical 12, about to be 13-year-old, wanting to be independent and doesn't want mom and dad's help too much, and don't know that she really even needs it. She's pretty independent. But no, she's doing well. I think it's healing good and doing good. So proud of her and the way she's been battling with that. I'm going to say this before I hand over to Matt. I'm not going to say a lot about it, but y'all keep Coach Gunnar Boykin's wife in your prayers, Megan Boykin. She's going through some health issues. Coach Boykin is my offensive line coach, been with me for over a decade. Honestly, I call him my security blankets as a coach. He's someone that you just lean on. I feel more comfortable when he's around. One of those deals, right? She's battling with some health issues, and it's been a tough about a week now. I think it was Monday of last week when first got put into the hospital. But you guys just kind of some unspoken prayers for our program and Coach Boykin and his family. He's got 4 kids that need their mama, and she needs a lot of prayers right now, and Coach Boykin as well. So not to somber the mood, and I know he's a private person, but I'm all for prayer warriors, and his family needs it. So thank y'all.
Good afternoon. I think it's afternoon, right?
Yeah, it's afternoon, yeah.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. Coach Turnock, great to have you here today. Appreciate you being here. You alluded to it, but during your time as interim head coach, led the team to a conference championship. So you didn't want to come out and say it, but I wanted to highlight that. I thought I would address a couple things over the last couple weeks. You probably saw an announcement from us, our athletic department, announcing that we are opting in for 26-27. So what does that mean and what changed, right? I've talked at length over the last year about the House settlement, what it means for athletic programs, new era of college athletics, right? So as we've gone through this process, we wanted to be sure that we're making decisions that are in the best interest of UCA, right? Not just doing what others are doing. We want to be sure that it fits for us and for our athletic department. And so we spent a lot of time really evaluating things and ultimately, again, wanting to be sure that it was the best decision for us. And we have come up with that. We have a great plan and very excited about that. So we will be opting in to the House settlement terms beginning 26-27, meaning that we will start sharing revenue with student athletes, okay? So a couple things that have led to this. If you go back to the spring, we had to make some tough decisions related to our sport portfolio, sports that we offer. And then also, another strategic decision is the conference move to the United Athletic Conference and the establishment of the UAC becoming an all-sport conference that have really, when you look at that, you're looking across the board, that's going to be less travel for our coaches, for our programs, for our student athletes, and so excited about that. Well, House settlement, again, there's really three main parts of the House settlement. One, you can begin sharing revenue with student athletes, okay? So think of that as NIL deals that are within the athletics that, start from the university. The second thing is roster limits, and the third thing is scholarship limits, or it does away with scholarship limits. You no longer have to adhere to the NCAA Division I scholarship limits. So we've announced that we are opting in. In our rev share plan, one of the biggest things, there is certainly some Title IX lawsuits that are coming as a part of this House settlement, and we wanted to be sure that we had a defensible plan to protect ourselves in that manner. And so our rev share plan will be built on really two principles. First, game guarantee revenue net of expenses that our programs generate, and then supplemented by donor support through what we have established championship resource funds in the foundation. So I know that several in here probably got an email from me when we made that announcement related to those championship resource funds. Again, and I mentioned in there, doesn't change any of our current giving. It's adding another avenue to support in our talent retention and acquisition efforts through those championship resource funds. So you'll hear me as we talk about this more and more we go through the year. We will talk about our rev share plan is built on those two principles, those two fundamentals. Game guarantee net of expenses that our programs generate, supplemented by donor support. But we are very excited about it. Again, it is a plan that we feel very confident in. We're excited about to work this plan. Jesse and I have a lot of work in front of us, and all of our coaches. It's a change. It's a new era, but it is. It's a new era of college athletics, and ultimately it's really a recommitment to Division I athletics by our university. So we're excited about it. Excited about what it means for our programs, and looking forward to more information that will come on that front. The second thing I wanted to mention, probably saw some news. The United Athletic Conference added another team, or another university, I should say. My weeks are running together. I think this was last week now. Can't remember which. Maybe it'd be 2 weeks this upcoming Friday. So added Little Rock to the United Athletic Conference beginning July of 2026. And so, we're excited about that. It's a great travel partner for us. It's a great brand to add to our league, and I think it will intensify our rivalry. We played Little Rock in all sports that we mutually sponsor through the years. Excited about what that means, being able to kind of add some life to that rivalry, now playing them as a conference opponent. So really excited about that, and I don't think the UAC's done. I don't want to name any names and don't want to provide any leads, Sam, but I think you'll see some additional information coming in the next few weeks related to additional expansion there, and also even on the ASUN side of that. So certainly excited about where that's headed. I don't know if you've had a chance to see this, but if you followed anything on social media when Little Rock made their announcement, there was a graphic that was put out, and it shows the footprint of the league. And I really think it tells a great picture and something that I'm excited about for our programs. And if you look at where the University of Central Arkansas is positioned within that footprint, very advantageous. We're located right there in the heart of it. So excited about that. So Little Rock added, looking forward to competing against them even more. And as conference foes now, we want to beat them. We want to beat them in everything, right? So excited about that addition, but more to come on any additional expansion news in the coming weeks also. So with that, I'll take any questions. Gino,
I had one, and I just don't.
did I cover it?
Huh?
Did I cover it at least?
No,
Okay.
I apologize.
No need to
I'm getting old.
apologize.
My brain doesn't function.
You've got my cell number, so you can call me when it comes to your mind. We'll talk about it anytime. Well, great. Well, hey, let's have a great week. Go Bears. Go Sugar Bears. Bear claws up.